All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. How are we all doing today? Let me get a screen up. We're about to open. Boom. We're going to be scalping the Nasdaq as usual for New York Open on the Trader 8 account. How's everyone doing today? Hope you all had a good weekend. Mark, great to see you back. Mark, I did see your email. I'm going to reply properly after this live stream. Holy Earth, great to see you. Good morning. Cody, good morning. Heng Wong, Andy the Greek. How is everyone doing today? Okay, let's have a look. We've not opened. Oh no, we have opened. This is the open. I'm sorry, I'm a little confused right now. We got delayed data on Trader 8. Ooh, what's going on? My Trader 8. I've just realized something. My Trader 8 account has delayed data. I know it's a demo account. Ooh, okay. Well, that's not good. I have nothing to trade with then. Shit. Why is it doing that? All right, give me 2 seconds, guys. I'm going to stop screen sharing, see if I can sort this out. I'm still here, obviously. I'm going to see if I can log in again, maybe. Oh, shit. Okay. Well, that is not good. I have delayed data on my Trader 8 account. Let's see. Let me try re-logging in. Otherwise, what we'll have to do is, I guess, just trade off trading view for today. We'll full screen trading view and do it that way. Yeah, okay, I need to ask the Ola Prime team. I know it was just a demo account, but unfortunately I've only got delayed data on it. Okay, we're going to have to just use TradingView for today's live stream. And obviously I can't actually enter any trades but I can just like pretend to enter. Does that make sense? Sorry, guys. I'll sort that out for tomorrow. I didn't realize I was on delayed data on Trader 8 because we are coming out with Trader 8. They wanted me to test it on the live stream, etc. I didn't realize it went to delayed data today. So, okay, what can you do? Anyway, Alexis, good to see you. I'm doing great. How are you? Cody says paper trade on TradingView. Exactly. I'll just paper trade. It's no biggie. We'll do that. At least you can see the full screen of the footprint today, right? Daniel, how are you? Okay, so in terms of levels, we had a massive gap, weekend gap, huge one. Look at that. That's from where we closed on Friday and we opened. I mean, I'm going to have to zoom in a bit here. We opened right there. So a really, really giant gap. So I am expecting a gap fill. It looks like it wants to do it. We've been kind of creeping up. So when we get to the top of the gap, I will be looking at shorts. But as for now, I am looking for a gap fill. So I'm pretty much bullish for the most part. We created a nice little low volume node from the open as well, just here. So this is something I could probably trade off. And it looks like we have touched it. Oh, that was a little bit too late. But never mind. It's all good. What can you do? It's all good. But yeah, volume wise, we're pretty low today. Truth be told, the volume looks very weak on the open. There was nothing really. A few sellers were trapped at the top by the looks of it. But all in all, the volume is relatively low. We had a bit of selling coming in, but I'm assuming that's more buyers getting out the market from the open. Again, similar, and now we've got some buying coming in again, trying to get this market up. So I'm still very bullish on this market for the most part. But it wasn't really a spectacular open in any way. Let me just make the clusters a little bit bigger because they're a bit small right now. Come on. Oh, no, wrong one. There we go. Let's see how 12 looks. Maybe 12 looks a bit better. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. Nice and clear. Okay. All right, sellers are coming back in. So these are fresh sellers, most likely. Potentially some buyers getting out the market from this candle. But as a whole, that's some real legit sell pressure coming into the market. We want to see how these guys fail, essentially. Look at that. They're piling it on 180. They're piling it in good chunks, but they seem to kind of be stopped here a little bit. So this is interesting, that area. Doesn't look terrible. Not yet. No, they managed to clear it. They managed to clear it. Just looking at when those sellers start failing, you know, or when you see big chunks of buying. There was a bit of a chunk of buying happening. So buyers are still happy to kind of transact lower down, which for the most part makes sense. I mean, we kind of expected them to get in these areas. All right, I would probably enter a buy around here. My stop would have to be, I mean, probably like here somewhere. And hopefully these buyers can just plop it up a little bit. It's really weird. We're going to get stopped out pretty much immediately on this one. Sellers managed to come in quite heavy. Yeah, we're out on that. All right, no big deal. I think buyers might come in a bit lower down. It's really weird trading without actually clicking. Oh, this is interesting. Look at that. There's a big chunk in volume. So that is a lot of buyers actually getting stopped out. So now we want to see, is there more sell pressure coming into the market? So there is still sell pressure coming in, but it's not spectacular. We just want to see what those sellers are doing. Peter, good to see you. How are you? How was your weekend? Yeah, there's some buyers. I would jump in here. I'm not even going to bother doing I don't know. It was like around here somewhere. I think this is where the buyers want to take control. And then again, I mean, ultimately, obviously, we're going to target these highs, but truth be told, I think we can go a lot higher. So my overall kind of where I expect it. Oh shit! What have I just done? Somewhere here. I don't know. I promise tomorrow I'll have it sorted for you guys. I know it's not great. The fact that I don't have an account to trade right now, but it's okay. It's really distracting having this thing on my chart, but it's fine. I will manage. We will manage. Okay, let's have a look. Let's see what's happening. Buyers are trying to come in, but they're struggling a bit here. Can you see that? You see how buyers are kind of getting a little bit, but it looks like minus 13. It looks like actually they're struggling a little bit. I'm expecting a bit more, but they might just pop open. Someone's going to place a big order and it will just boop, pop right through. That's usually what happens when they want to clear an iceberg. But you do run the risk of a seller coming in, popping, you know, placing a big order. But there's something definitely there causing a little bit of issue for the buyers. Just need to see those buyers come in a bit heavy. You see sellers are coming in a bit heavier. You need to get above those sellers pronto, really quick. Otherwise, I would say get out. Otherwise, it's not ready yet. Get above those sellers very fast. Minus 90, minus 80. We want to see those numbers. That's it. That's it. That's exactly what we want to see. See that kind of speed? Get above where the sellers entered. And now we want to see lots of follow through. So lots of buyers coming in quickly to keep that momentum going. If they start slowing down, that gives the sellers an opportunity to jump in again. We don't want that. You see buyers are coming in a little bit late. They took a bit of time coming in. So we're causing a little bit of a stalemate here. Just need, but it's very good that where that minus 78 is, that is actually not a bad. Don't want to get below that minus 78. You want to see those buyers come back in. Otherwise, I'll say get out. Come on. Minus 13, minus 28. Sellers keep reloading this shit. They're quite adamant, but the buyers are holding them off, which is good, but they need to be more aggressive. I just don't think we're low enough down for the buyer, for true buy pressure to come in and be super aggressive here. They're just not as they're not that comfortable buying here. We're getting some buy pressure, but they're just not that comfortable. I mean, anything can change, but at this moment, you need to see more, you know? It's just not enough. Again, another minus 97, minus 100. Now, if we can get above those sellers quick again with speed, that's like that, and then have follow through, then we're okay. Because then the sellers are going to get spooked by that. That should spook sellers enough to kind of give up a little bit, at least for, a few points up. Go on, buys, add on volume. They're getting eaten up. It's just hasn't got enough speed and not enough momentum yet. But I think they might be able to do it still. Just got to be a little bit patient for these buys to come in. 114, that was a good little chunk, but it's not enough. They're kind of reloading. Sellers are also dropping by 20, 30 contracts each side, but then buyers come back in a bit. So it's a very kind of touch and go area. We'll look at the chat in a second. And look, sellers are coming in again. Buyers need to be quick. They need that momentum. I'm going to just make this a little bit easier to see. That's it. There's the big chunk of volume. That's it. See that momentum? That's what they need. Now, sellers are trying to buy short the top, but see that momentum coming in? As long as you have that momentum, it's good. Come on, don't give up here. Don't give up. Come on, you got this, buyers. Come on. they got pushed down quite quickly. That was sad. That was unfair. That was so good for a few seconds. It's not looking. I need to see buyers keep coming in. It just looks like they kind of failed a little bit higher up. I would say actually probably look at potentially getting out of this trade. I don't like what I saw at the top there. Okay, this is looking a bit better. How we moved quickly above those sellers. But here, I do not like what I saw here, truth be told. I do not like what I saw here. It's a tough one. Go on, buyers. Give it another shot. There we go. Let's get above there. Let's not F around here. Sorry, I did enter on my cash account. That's why I'm kind of staring at this screen. I'm debating getting out, to be honest. I really am debating getting out. Yeah. It's just they keep failing near that high, which is slightly annoying. I don't think the buyers are going to manage it now. Yeah, I'm going to get out of this position, I think. All right, I'm out. That was a failed trade, sadly. But I'll be looking at getting back in potentially if we see a bit more. It's just that, unfortunately, right there. That was bad news for us right there. That was not good for any buyers. All this was looking good, and then it was just that failure right there. I think the buyers will still come in. They just need a little bit more they need a better area to come back in. You know, they're waiting. I don't know. They're waiting a little bit. All right, let's see what the chat is saying. Peter, what's good, bro? Petrol too expensive here in Australia to drive anywhere. I'll send you some login for one of mine that you can trade. Revenants, good to see you. Dr. Kais, Ange, how are you? Coach Z. Hi, Sammy. Can you let me know if SPX is updating on trading view? It's frozen on my chart. Thanks in advance. Absolutely. Absolutely. It should be fine. Are you... I mean, the ES should be fine. Yeah, ES is looking all right. Yeah. But you're saying SPX. So you're looking for the CFD version, right? It depends which source you're getting it from. I'm going to have to switch off footprint if I want to see. Oh, you're right. This one hasn't updated. Okay, so get rid of SPX. Just do S&P 500 and look for, one of the big names. Like these guys. I'm not going to mention them on the thing. It should be fine. Yeah. Do that, I would say. All right, Coach Lee. Just type in S&P 500 and then find one of the big names. Or use the ES, whichever one. Whichever one works. Cherry, good to see you. Do you check gamma levels before trading? I don't. Hey, good day. Charis, how are you? Okay, so I'm still looking to buy. Ooh, something happened here. That looks quite nice. 183 on the buy side. Doesn't look too bad, does it? But didn't really do anything. So I don't know. We'll see. Didn't really see what that 183, how that was triggered. I would say there would be fresh buyers, to be fair, or some sellers potentially getting out on a pullback, but still looking for a good buy opportunity. I think when it comes along, you'll see. We'll be able to spot it. Almost happened here, but sellers, they just came back in. All right, so I think this little area here is a gap, right? Oh, it's drawn a little bit off. It's barely a gap, to be fair. It's about there. It's not great, to be fair. It's not great at all. I can get rid of this black line. Don't need that anymore. Oh, shit. What just happened there? I freaking missed that. Holy moly. Well, that was... Damn. All right, I didn't see what happened there. You reckon with your new account, you'll be trading NQ? Absolutely. I will. Oh, man, look at that. That's what... You're kidding me. You're absolutely kidding me. Completely missed that one. I mean, that's annoying because I missed it on my cash account as well. You freaking kidding me. Son of a bitch. What can you do? Sometimes you miss it. Fucking bastard. And I shoot. What an absolute. Oh, well, what can you do? We'll catch the next one. Yeah, I will be trading NQ with the new one. I will be. Probably NQ most of the time. It's just a little bit more exciting. But yeah, the buys came in. Like I said, I'm still very bullish on this market until we fill the gap. It just needed a little bit more to go down, and they were happy to come in. But it was clearly one big buyer of some kind, because that happened so quick. I mean, it could have been, I don't think it was news related, to be honest. It didn't move quite like when news comes out, but I'm just annoyed I missed it, to be honest. All right, well, we're getting close to the gap fill, so around here I'll be looking at potentially shorting. So maybe we'll get nice and quickly up here, and then we can look for a short, because that's the next move essentially. Or if it can give me a bit of a retracement, I can go in long. One or the other. One or the other. But that 183, so notice how I don't think that 183, that buyer ever really got out. And they must have added again. They were very adamant. So we shall see. We shall see. All right, this is good. Bit of a retracement. We've got some buyers getting out the market. Let's see if they start eating up. If buyers start adding a bit of pressure in. So let's see when these sell numbers start failing a bit. Getting very close to that. This is kind of what we wanted. We wanted some kind of pullback. We just want to see, there's a bit of buy pressure coming in, but nothing spectacular yet. Just want to see when the sellers stop and the buyers decide to come in, you know? Come on. Come on. This is nice. It's a good little pullback. Very, very nice. That's what we want to see. Beautiful. There's a lot of sellers coming in. Sellers are still coming in. I'm going to gear up for a buy. Hopefully any moment. Okay, we're starting to see big numbers coming in here on the sell side. But I think, notice how that is all the same. 57, 57, 57, 57. That's a big order. So I think, I don't like the fact that it's sell numbers and not more buyers, but I do think they are defending. We'll see. Will these guys defend? That's the big question. It looks like they haven't. They haven't yet defended. 49, 16. No, nothing yet. It's looking a bit weak. But I feel like they will defend at some point. Buyers will come back in. Just got to wait for them. Big move on oil just now. Yeah, not surprised, Peter. Not surprised. They are very related. Come on. It's not terrible. But I wouldn't want to jump in for a buy just yet. I do like that those numbers went a bit low. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you see how that dropped from 80 back down? I don't really like that just yet, but it didn't really drop down at the same time, the actual candle. So it's not terrible. I feel like it might. Yeah, okay, I would probably go in for a buy there. Around there, where it happened, where you saw that little jump, going for a buy. And see if we can get to that. Gap fill is 25,332. 332. See if we can get that extension happening. Right, want to get above those sellers quickly. That's it. See how quick that happened? Beautiful. That's the kind of momentum you want. You need momentum in this market. Lots of it. All right, want to get above those sellers. See those sellers coming in? Yes, that's it. Get above them. Get above them. Good. Hey, Sammy, that was news. Oh, what was the news? What was it? Check financial juice. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, wasn't great. I think everyone checked it at the same time, clearly. New York Post, Iranian officials are studying abandoned uranium enrichment as a US condition for ending the war. Oh, okay. It's still loading on my end. Basically, I still hope for a deal. Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. That does make sense then. Yes, there it is. Okay, nice. And that happened at 54. That happened right here on this candle. This bullish candle here. That's where it apparently came out. 53 and 54. So this spike here at 248, I don't know what that was then. I don't think that was probably, again, insiders. Exactly, Holy Earth. Bit of the old insiders. Always very suspicious. Every time we tried the insider trading, we tried to copy them, we fail. And then other times it's just so obvious. But at the same time, that didn't really have the reaction. I don't think they expected such a reaction. It didn't really push up much, did it? Considering it's news, that wasn't really, I mean, did it do much? Hardly. So who knows? But at the same time, we haven't really seen much of an exit happen from those buyers. So I still think we've got potential to keep going up here. I still think the gap fill is pretty much every trader's got that in their eyes. You know, they've all noticed that gap. Most people, there's going to be a shit ton of limits on the gap. People are going to keep buying. That's where all the take profits are. That's where people are going to be exiting the market. And we're so close to it as well. You know, we're not far away now. We are exactly, oh shit. We are 61 points away on the NQ from the top of the gap. So I think it's gonna reach there. I mean, what's the likelihood we're gonna get close to it and then reverse? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if we even overshoot it a bit, you know, with the amount of volume. But all in all, naturally, the closer we get to the end of the gap, the less people are willing to kind of jump in. Do you know what I mean? And buy. You're going to get only really scalpers. You're not going to get any more longer term kind of traders jumping in because it wouldn't make sense to risk reward, would it? So that's why it's slowing down a bit. It can be a bit slow as we get to those areas, but I think ultimately it will happen. Come on. Come on now. Just need a bit of buy pressure. I don't like all these sellers coming in. Naturally, there's going to be a lot of sellers as well because we're getting close to that area. People are starting to pile on positions. Buyers getting out the market. All that kind of, there it is. There's a bit of a spike. Let's see if we can get nicely above. There is a small low volume node here, which I don't quite like the fact that it's so close, but I feel like we can just probably pop above it, hit the gap fill, and we're done, you know? That's it. Look at all that. Look at all that volume. All right, we're in that low volume node. Let's see if we can just pop right through it like nothing. I am in my cash account. My TP is at the gap fill. But I am looking at potentially getting out this low volume node if I see anything I don't like. I want to get above that sell pressure. That's it. Come on. I don't like that. Come on, get above, get above. Nah, I'm getting out. I'm taking it. I don't care. I'm not taking any risks. I should have held. I'm not taking any risks right now. I'm going to play it smart. Play it very, very cool. Because I know gap fills can be absolutely, they can be such good moves. But I will be start gearing up for a short any moment now as we get close to this line. The blockade is actually a brilliant move. Iran thought it could keep selling its oil and control which ships can come through. They underestimated the US. Absolutely. Good morning, ZT content. ES is only 40-ish ticks from the gap as well. Beautiful. It's all lining up. In 13 days, if they can't ship off their oil, they will start running into storage problems and they will have to shut down production. It takes forever to turn back on. That's very true, Peter. Very, very true. It's all one big game of chess right now, isn't it? So what we're looking out for as we get to this gap fill, to the top of the gap. So what I'm going to be looking out for as kind of some type of confirmation. I want to see buyers take profit, buyers getting out the market. So I'm going to want to be looking at, I want to see lots of buy volume in this kind of area around here somewhere, right? I want to see the buy volume really spike up. Okay. That's number one. Then I know, okay, buyers, or a big chunk of buyers have taken profit. Then I want to see maybe some people trying to play a breakout, some sort of, buyers potentially getting trapped. So after we've already spiked here, anywhere below the high, I want to see fresh buy pressure come in, but fail to really get it up. Then I want to see sell pressure come in, true sell pressure, below the buy pressure or in and around it, and squeeze those buyers out and start pushing the market down. So those are the things I'm looking for. I'm glad I actually kind of got out there, because look, the closer you get to it, the more you get this kind of bullshit, where the market just wants to, because no one really wants to buy that close to it. We're getting a bit of fresh buying coming in. I'm going to get rid of this black line. I don't need it anymore. There's a bit of fresh buying coming in. Maybe they can prop it up the few extra points. Let's see. They're not really doing much. Kind of holding it a bit. Dun, 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 dun. But I'm not really going to want to buy unless we get a really good pullback. I don't really want to jump in for a buy again. Not this close to the end of the gap. Damn. Come on. Ideally, just fill the damn gap now, because I know there'll be a nice trade here. I know there's going to be a nice trade if we do get there. So I really hope we do. Come on. Come on, just people buy. Get it up there. Let's not faff around so close to the dam. There we go. Come on. All right. Make me proud. Make me proud. We're going to do this. 75, 103. There's a bit of fresh buying. Go on, buyers. That's it. Go on, buyers. Don't fail here. 160. Come on. Sellers, just stop selling for 2 seconds. Just allow the gap to be filled. Stop with your FOMO, sellers. It's not going anywhere. There we go. Go on, buyers. Take it home. You deserve it. Come on. Keep buying. Getting so damn close. I'm going to start gearing up for a short soon. Oh, come on. Because it's giving me FOMO almost, like the idea that, will it actually touch it? I still think it will because it's such an obvious one. It's such a big weekend gap. I'll be amazed if we don't actually get there. Come on, here we go. Surely. This is ridiculous. It's so freaking close. But what we're seeing, though, do notice what you're looking at. All this big buy numbers, I would not be surprised if that is some buyers already taking profit, right? Bit premature, they're essentially, we're so close to it. Don't be a dick for a tick type thing. Let's just take our money. So there are already buyers exiting, right? We're already starting to see that happen, which is good. But I really, to go in hard, I really want to actually fill the gap. And I do think it can still do it. I don't think, nowhere near the majority of buyers have taken profit yet. Okay, this is it. Come on. And we are getting slowly some sellers, deciding to jump in a bit early. We're getting very, very close now. Oh, come on. Don't do it here. That is a lot of good sell pressure coming in. I want to get above those sellers. Good. All we need is a spike. There we go. Come on. One spike, one swift move. There it is. I'm gearing up for a short. Come on. All right, let's see if it spikes. Saw a bit of a spike, 100, but nothing too crazy yet. So there's still take profits haven't been fully hit yet. Oh, are you kidding me? Are you absolutely kidding me? Come on. It gets so choppy. So damn choppy the closer you get. Dude, it touched it to the T. And we had a little bit of spike in volume on the buy side. So you saw a little bit of profit taking, but it's not enough. Come on. The FOMO is real right now. The FOMO is real. Don't do this to me. Oh, the FOMO is so real. No, I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait to see the buyers exit. I'm not going to lie. There is a part of me that wants to short already. But I just know that if I short here, okay, we might get a couple of points down maybe, and then buyers will come back in and then just bring it back up. I just don't think it's the move yet. It's not the real move. This is kind of, just tricking people almost. This is people who are a bit too early to the party, potentially getting trapped here. I might be wrong. This could be it. They could take control and plummet down. I really hope I am. Wrong here, because I feel like the buyers really need to exit this market. ES still hasn't hit the gap. Okay, interesting. All right, well, that's good news. In 13 days, if they can't... Oh, I saw that already. Okay, there's some buyers coming back in. Good. Come on now. These buyers need to make everyone proud. They need to prop this market up. We don't want to get below those buyers. If they start getting squeezed out... Oh, shit. Come on. That's it. They propped it up. It's all right. It's not over yet. Good. Damn, the sellers are coming in early. Come on. Oh, sellers are coming in a bit early. Oh, shit. Buyers. Sammy, if you go short from the gap, where would you take profit? How long do you think it could? Oh, that's a great question. Damn it. Look, buyers are dropping out. Holy shit. This might not be a fake move. This might be, sellers might take control here. So Daniel, take profit. I mean, it could be, this trade's obviously would have played out. I mean, in my cash account, I got out like at that little area here somewhere. I got out like here on my cash, but either way, get rid of this. I mean, I would target maybe even the point of control or any of these significant lows down here. I think it could go far down. I don't think it would just be a small little retracement. But again, I'll be scalping it, so I will get out at the first sign of, major trouble, if that makes sense. Extreme Kid, hi Sammy, the footprint chart data on TradingView accurate, or there are far better accurate data outside of TradingView? So Extreme Kid, it is accurate only if you are on the futures, so NQ or ES or whatever, and it's a CME product. It's not like a CFD, and you obviously got the CME subscription. Then yes, it's accurate. I see ES has filled the gap. Just heard Sammy mentioned it is not. Can you confirm so? Let's have a look. ES. I don't know if ES has filled the gap or not, to be honest. Let's have a look. Zoom out. So you want to see exactly where it closed on Friday. So right here, draw a black line on the close around there. And we'll go over. No, it hasn't been filled. ES hasn't fully filled it. It got very, very close. But the thing is, it doesn't necessarily have to fill it to the T. Considering we are basically 9 points, not 9 points, 9 ticks, 2.25 points away from filling the gap. I mean, you can pretty much say it has been filled. Does that make sense? I mean, it's almost nothing. It doesn't have to do it to the T. So I would say ES pretty much has filled it. Same with the NQ. The NQ has filled it. But I do want to see if we saw any profit. Oh, yes, we did see. Now, this is interesting. Look on the ES. The NQ, I didn't really see it that clear. But look at the volume spike. Remember earlier I said there's a few things I'll be looking for, right? I want to see buyers take profit, which will look like buyers. So a big amount of buy volume spike around this area, right? Near the gap fill. It doesn't have to be to the T, but in and around that area. And we got that clear as day on the ES, actually. On NQ, I didn't see it that clear. And then we want to see, maybe potentially fresh buyers try and take over the market again. And we did kind of see fresh buying happening here. And then we want to see heavy sellers come in below those buyers and squeeze them out. So really what we're kind of seeing now, the ES looks a lot better than the NQ for a short at this moment in time. But let me see what the NQ was exactly showing, because I didn't really see the volume spike massively. I mean, we saw it spike a little bit, and that definitely was some, take profits, but it wasn't big enough for me to kind of, that's definitely it. And the reality is right now, this is more than just a pullback. We've taken out this low, right? So technically a break in structure, right? Granted, it's only a 1 minute chart. It's, it could very easily, nothing is set in stone. It could many times it will break 1 minute structure and then just continue like nothing happened. But Technically, it did break structure. Buyers, look, they tried to take control, failed again. Sellers coming in below. It is starting to look like this. I think the gap has been filled, and I think sellers are. I'm looking for shorts now. I wouldn't say necessarily jump in right now for a short, but ultimately I have switched my bias now to short. I thought maybe we would even overshoot the gap a little bit on the NQ or something. All right, fine, didn't happen, but nonetheless, the volume is kind of saying buyers aren't able to push it down anymore. I mean, push it up anymore. Buyers, look at them at the top here when they try to take control. Sellers coming in, buyers are all dropping out. So whether buyers drop out, whether they get out the market via take profit or, they get stopped out or trailed out, doesn't really matter, right? Either way, buyers are dropping out. Now we got some fresh buying coming in. So this will be interesting. Will these buyers actually be able to get the market back up again? Now that we're a bit lower down, maybe they're looking for, they'll be a bit more aggressive in trying to get it up, or are they going to fail? And then sellers just kind of quickly trade below them. That is the question. And it looks like they're kind of failing, and look, we're starting to trade below those buyers. Now, it didn't happen very quick. I want to see a bit more speed getting below those buyers, so buyers can still have a bit of time to kind of recover, but it doesn't look great. Doesn't look great for the buyers. See, buyers are willing to come back in because there wasn't enough speed there. They needed just a little bit more momentum, the sellers, in getting below them, but maybe they'll do it now. You'll just see that kind of momentum drop down. If you get that, then they'll spook enough buyers to say, all right, wait, we'll go in the next area. Sellers are keeping the buyers at bay, and we're still trading below the majority of the buy volume. So, if you were in a short, you would still kind of want to be holding this. You wouldn't want to be getting out just yet. And there it is. Look, those are the buyers dropping out that just came in. Freaking hell, yeah. What can you do? Damn. I mean, we filled the gap and we're going back down. I mean, it wasn't as I thought it would be. A lot more kind of dramatic in the volume on the NQ. It wasn't very dramatic. It was a bit lackluster. But yeah, I mean, it's happened. It technically happened. It did exactly what we wanted, essentially. Just did it a bit boring. But there's always still the chance that this could still be a pullback, and buyers will do one more leg up, take control, really take profit. But I think, considering how far we've gone down now, any movement up will be a pullback on the upside. Does that make sense? And then sellers will be able to take back control again on the downside and start pushing this market down. So I'm still ultimately going to be looking more for shorts than anything else. But we are starting to see a little bit. No, I take that back. I was going to say buyers looked a little bit better there, but they're not terrible. But there's not really much sell volume coming in. There's not that much fresh sell volume. So I think buyers could probably take a little bit of control here, unless sellers are willing to come in quickly and put in volume. But sellers are not putting in volume right now. There's not really anyone that interested in selling. And granted, they're going to be a bit cautious, right? We've been in a very bullish market, and why would you want to? You kind of want a bit more confirmation. You're going to want a bit of a pullback, and then sellers might gain. And it would be a slightly dangerous to short here, considering the market we've had. So I think buyers, will take a bit of control here on a pullback, and then sellers at some point are going to come back in. But whether we will break this high is questionable, truth be told. Very, very questionable. But there we go. There's a bit of buyers take a pullback for the buy side, I would say. There's a bit of sell pressure. See, the sellers are willing to come in a little bit higher. They want a good price. They're not, at this moment in time, sellers are not happy really shorting at the low. They want a bit of a pullback before they're comfortable shorting the market. And it didn't need much until some sellers became comfortable. But I wouldn't want to go short just yet. I want to see buyers fail, because right now sellers are kind of failing, or I want to see some real extreme aggression from the sellers. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but it doesn't feel like the full kind of, aggression from the sellers, and buyers are still kind of, giving it their best shot right now. I see. How about COMEX or FXCM? FXCM is CFD, extreme kids, so that will just be tick data. That will be completely useless. COMEX is fine, but that's for gold and stuff like that. That's for metals. But yeah, COMEX will be real data. Honestly, looking for a pullback to long from precisely of the high volume node below. Interesting. ES gap filled, long ES. There's a bit of sell pressure coming in. I still think, I wouldn't say it's ready for a short just yet. I don't feel like it's, sellers are coming in, but they're not really all good. Just as I said that, a lot of buyers came in. Don't think it's just ready yet. They were just a little bit too weak, those sellers, They weren't ready yet. But I would imagine sellers are probably going to start wanting to come back in soon. Honestly, are you trading a live account? No, movie. This is I'm not even trading a account at the moment. There was a little hiccup with the account, unfortunately. I was meant to be trading on Tradeovate, but I got delayed data because I don't know how, if you caught the beginning, but usually, yes, I do trade a live account, except for Friday. Friday, I didn't trade a live account. That was a demo account. I will always say if account is live or demo, but at this moment in time, this is just nothing. This is just trading view. There's no demo, no live, nothing. But I'm trading off screen, yes, a live account. ES long 36846. There's the sellers. Ooh. Well, they just wanted a bit of a better price before they came in. But this is looking a bit suspicious, truth be told. This looks very news-like to me. That happened very quick. Something happened there. That wasn't normal movement. That was some news or something. So I'm just gonna have a quick look on Financial Juice if it can frickin' load. Will it load? Still not loaded. If anyone's got a quicker loading Financial Juice or can find out exactly what happened there, feel free to paste it in the chat. Come on. This is so delayed. That was earlier. It still hasn't updated. We'll give it a few minutes. But that definitely felt news-like. That whole spike down. I mean, it's quite interesting right now what we're seeing. Buyers haven't given up on this long, right? Buyers are still willing to keep buying. So they're treating this move down as a pullback and they're entering. Sellers are treating this move up as a pullback and are entering. So we've got a little bit of a battle in between here. Okay. But ultimately the gap was filled. I think a lot of buyers did drop out on this move down. Are there still buyers from the original move up in the market? Absolutely. That was insane. Trump said if any Iranian vessels come near, they will be eliminated. Gotcha. Okay. There it is now. Gotcha. Perfect. Okay, that makes sense. They said in an email they would like us to stay logged into Financial Juice, as when something happens and everyone jump on the website, crash. So idiots like me basically causing problems for Financial Juice, because the moment news comes out, I'm like refreshing 100 times. I'll keep that in mind. I won't refresh. I'll just keep it up. I apologize to Financial Juice. All right, so right now this is a bit of a stalemate. Like I said, both sides are seeing it as a pullback. But since the gap was filled, I am more short as a whole than I am long. I do think ultimately we'll get a nice move down at some point. Do I think we could potentially double top? Absolutely. I think that could happen. I think there are still many take profits in and around this area that haven't been triggered. I do think some people would have dropped out prematurely and been a bit, on that move because we've got so close to it. But we never really saw a major spike in buy volume in and around this area yet. So I do think there are still buyers from, the overall move up we had who are still in the market, still holding their positions to their take profit. It's not far away. Some buyers are still going to be willing to jump in on dips. But I do think if we break the current low, so, this area here, basically, if we get further down than, what am I doing? Kind of further down, if we start breaking, basically, let me just draw this out. This low here, I think there's going to be less buyers interested and people will start accepting that, okay, the gap was filled, we're starting to look bearish, and there'll be more people willing to start shorting than buying. But while we're still kind of in this area here, you're going to get, like I said, you're going to get buyers who treat this as a pullback and looking to go in long. And you're going to get sellers, similar to me, people who think, okay, well, the gap has been filled. I'm going to be more short. Seeing this as like the initial move. This is the pullback. And now we're going to go in short. So you're going to have a lot of chop in this area until either this gets broken or this gets broken, essentially. One or the other. But considering we're so close to that, I do think ultimately there's going to be more people willing to short than buy, because the more closer you get to this kind of area, the more dangerous it starts becoming to buy, if that makes sense. Because you just don't really have much movement. Or like Baker da Silva said, Trump tweet. Trump could say something. News could come out and then all bets are off, right? And we just get a bit of chaos. Or you might spot some insider trading. Who knows? We shall see. But look at that. There is some buy pressure coming in. Buyers are still happy to keep buying. They're not giving up just yet. They really, really want to get to their TPs at the top there. There's a lot of good buy volume that just came in that candle, but they're also vulnerable now. Those fresh buyers are somewhat vulnerable, these guys here. The question is now, can these guys keep the market up? Will they defend? And it looks like they are kind of defending, but can they effectively defend, or can sellers take control, squeeze them out? Because their stops are probably not that far away, these buyers, right? Will they get squeezed out? That's the big question now. I'm more going to bet that they'll probably get squeezed out, these buyers. They came in, didn't really push the market up. They're kind of struggling. We're not seeing big chunks of buy volume coming in. They're not defending massively, but they're still also not getting out the market, right? There's a little bit of chunk, but 60. So they are coming in a bit now, but they're also struggling. So we'll see. We'll see. At this moment in time, anything could happen. There's anyone's game right now. This is, I know they defended quite well. They managed to get the market up a bit. Sellers are looking like they're dropping out a little bit here, because we just took out that little high. So I think sellers have dropped out ever so slightly. But a lot of the time when stops get hit, people use that as an opportunity to jump in again. Okay. So I would classify, because we just took out that high there. That's a terrible line, but you know what I mean. I'd classify that volume as essentially majority sellers getting stopped out. That is what I'm classifying as. Okay, looks like buyers are willing to keep buying higher up now. So I think we might get a move. But sellers came back in. We're still in that chop zone. We're still very much in that chop zone. I wouldn't be comfortable buying or selling right now. Ooh. But I would actually want to short, and I'll tell you why. Because we got these buyers, we got a bunch of buyers here. All these guys are vulnerable with quite a bit of volume. I would front run a short here, to be honest. In fact, I am actually going to front run a short. And I'm going to have a really tight stop. Okay. I am front running a short with a super tight stop. I don't really want to get above, realistically, that candle, but I will see how this happens, because I want to see these buyers get squeezed out, and it looks like sellers might do it. But I've got my finger on exit. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I want to see those buyers fail. It looks like I'll see those sellers trying to squeeze those buyers out. Because if those buyers give up, this is going to be a nice move down. Because the only buyers in the market really are those guys right there. They're the ones propping this up right now. So if they fail and if they get out, sellers have got this. At least back down to the low, the little low, like around here. So I want the area of interest really kind of this black line here. Don't really want to go much above there. Obviously, the ultimate stop has to be above here. But I want to see sellers come in. I'm not seeing it really happen yet. Buyers are still willing to transact, which makes it a little bit annoying. Bit of sell pressure, but nothing amazing. Minus 80. There's a little bit more. Oh, they got eaten up. Minus 60 is not looking great. Sellers, you got to push them down. If you want to squeeze them out now, you have to come in heavy. Minus 70, minus 80. They're only coming in tens. I want to see like a block of 50 or 60, you know, to show that there's a bigger player in the market being aggressive. We're getting like blocks of chunks of 10, you know, 30, 40, 50, like it's moving in tens, basically, not moving in much bigger blocks right now. I want to see a big block on the sell side. That was a bit bigger there, but still not great. I feel like sellers could squeeze out the buyers here. What I do like is I'm not seeing massive amounts of buyers defending right now. Buyers are a bit weary buying into this, which is good. That's given the sellers a little bit of room and a little bit of breathing room to kind of squeeze these buyers out potentially. And ultimately, we know the buyers are coming in more at the low here. So if we can just break below, I would say, that black line there, I think a lot of buyers are going to drop out and call it all right, fine. It failed. But yeah, buyers are willing to come back in around here. So we need to get below those buyers quick if we want to squeeze them out. Come on now. That's it. Get below those buyers. That's what I want to see. That's it. Trap them. Come on. Don't lose momentum. Sellers need to be willing to short at the lows to keep this going down. Otherwise, we're not breaking through. Otherwise, we just rotate back up again and the same shit. And it's like a range essentially. So here is a very, very key kind of area. Oh, buyers are putting in volume. We need to keep below them. That's it. Keep below. Good. Come on. I need a big chunk of sellers to come in. 33, 116. That's some buyers exiting right there. They're giving up. A few buyers saying that they're not feeling the heat right now. They're not liking it. These are buyers exiting, getting squeezed out. Now sellers need to put in real fresh pressure to keep this market going down, right? Because a lot of buyers are going to use the opportunity of, you know, sellers getting stopped out. Buyers getting stopped out as a new fresh wave to buy. So once that battle's over, which we just had, those buyers in the market have just exited. You saw them spike. We need real sellers coming in now to keep this market moving down. Otherwise, buyers can take control again and a fresh wave of buyers will come in and just push this market up. And then, well, that's slightly annoying. Do you know what I mean? So we need to see sell numbers come in big, but we're not really seeing it. We're not seeing it yet. Sellers are just not willing to short at the lows properly. We see a big chunk of sellers come in. 30, 39, 29. It's still very meh. Come on. Now, see, buyers are willing to buy it. This is the issue. Sellers need to get below those buyers quickly. We did squeeze those buyers out, which is good, but there was no follow through again. Sellers were a little bit fearful shorting that low. Come on. 70. There's really not much volume coming in now. Come on. Gotta get below those buyers. All right, a few sellers coming in a little bit higher up, which is not terrible. There is it, minus 90, good. But we need that kind of volume and more lower down. We need sellers willing to short here. If we get here and sellers are willing to put in, 50, 60, 90, whatever, decent numbers down here, then we can, have that follow through and keep going down. But otherwise, if they're fearful, you're just going to get buyers coming in at these lows. Sellers are just a little bit fearful. They're happy to sell a bit higher up on a tiny bit of a pullback. Then sellers are willing to come back in. But that's not good enough. Otherwise, we just get an up and down, up and down, up and down range type movement. In order for that to break out, you need sellers willing to short low down. We just don't have that yet. They're doing everything else correctly, but they're just not willing to short low down yet. So it's a bit of a waiting game, but ultimately, I think personally I'm going to get out here because I feel like it might just be a rotation back up again. I don't think it's ready just yet. All right, I'm out. Got out at pretty much break even there, but I'll be willing to jump back in. -5. There's a bit of fresh buying coming in. If we can trap those buyers, it wouldn't be too bad to jump back in again. We're still very much in this kind of annoying area where buyers see it as a pullback, sellers see it as a pullback. No one's kind of... It's just going to be chop, unfortunately. It's going to be a bit of chop. That's all it is. Until something, either news or something, or we start breaking, the highs or the lows. That's not, till one side wins. But it can be very 50-50 in these areas. All right, sellers are still coming back in a bit, but they're not that aggressive yet. They're a little bit weak, these sellers. But I'm still more on the sell side than I am on the buy side for now. All right, that's looking a bit better. I like how there was a little bit of speed there, but it wasn't great. A little bit better. I like the fact that we're kind of below, we're only marginally below it, not a massive amount. And there's a little bit of sell pressure in, but there's got to be that follow through, But look, buyers are willing to come back in lower down to keep it propped up. So not yet. I think maybe a bit higher up again, sellers will be willing to transact. Oh, hands are hurting. All this mouse movement. But you can really see there's not that much interest on either side in this area. And I can understand why. Not many people really want to buy, not many people really want to sell in this area. It's starting to become a bit unclear who could win. All right, buyers are coming in higher up. You see, this is why the buyers are doing a little bit better right now, because buyers are willing to buy higher up in this kind of range, right? So buyers are capable of keeping it, a bit higher up. Whereas sellers, on the other hand, sellers are just not willing to really short lower down. And that is their weakness right now. They did the hard part of squeezing out those buyers earlier and then just didn't give it enough follow through. So bit of sellers coming in at the top, nothing spectacular. Let's look at the chat. Just want to kind of keep my eye a little bit on this because I feel, again, sellers are willing to enter higher up, but just not spectacular. Still very, very much in a range, in my opinion. Doesn't really look like much of a range, but for me, this is the beginning of, well, it could be the end, it could be the beginning. It's hard to know, but this is like essentially we're starting to go sideways. Just zoom in a bit. The volume is dying off a bit here. All right, we're back to the top of the range. The range. Oh, look at that. Sellers are squeezed out. Now the question is, okay, are buyers willing to keep buying at the top here and keep it above? Or are sellers just going to jump back in after getting stopped out like the buyers did earlier on, right? That's the big question now. And look, did you see that right there? Oh, where is it? Where's my pen? So this was, I can't remember the exact number, but we had like 100 something here. And then it propped to 237, meaning buyers are still willing to buy at the top. So buyers might actually keep this propped up here. But sellers are willing to come back in. But I wouldn't want to short yet because buyers are showing their interest in actually buying above the range, right? And you can see there are some sellers coming in, but not a lot. And look at the buy numbers going a bit higher. 99. Oh, let me move the pen. Oh, there is some sellers coming in. But again, 71, 76, 87. There are some sellers, but buyers are willing still to buy. Dun, 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 dun. But at this moment in time, there's still not a clear winner. Remember, we filled the gap, but it's still very kind of 50-50 right now. All we can take from this market are slight clues at this moment in time, or very small scalps at this moment in time. Because we know buyers are still in the market. There's still a lot of take profits at the top there. That looked quite interesting there, potentially. I'm just keeping my eye on this because this could be quite an interesting. Sellers they're not willing to let go yet, and I think we're going back down to the bottom of the range. This is insane. Buyers weren't able to really prop it up, and the reason I said that was quite interesting is because we saw a bunch of buyers and then instantly we went below them, and sellers are willing to come back in again. We're still in a range. It still hasn't made its direction, but maybe sellers will gain enough, what do you call it? Not momentum necessarily, but enough balls to kind of keep shorting as we go down. And the real question is, will sellers have the balls to short at the bottom of the range? If they don't, then we're just rotating back up again. Buyers will take control. The same thing will happen. We'll just keep doing this up and down until one side has enough aggression at the top or bottom. But ultimately, right now, this is still very kind of 50-50. Buyers are happy to come in at the midpoint of the range. Sellers are still happy to short. I think sellers are going to probably push it down a little bit more. But we won't truly go down, or like I said, truly go up until we break. But we're back in the middle of the range. So this could be quite interesting. Because if buyers come in aggressive enough, they could actually push it up again. Not really. The volume has really died off here. Sellers have kind of stopped shorting. You're not really seeing the sell numbers come in anymore. Oh, there was a big chunk of sellers. It says -12, but remember that was like plus 30. So you're looking at 40 or so contracts in one hit, in one chunk happened there. So you know there's a half decent size seller here. And again, they've come back in. So there is a decent sized seller just sitting right here, willing to be aggressive. So we know buyers are going to have to break above here in order to squeeze that seller out and make them give up. We know that there's some buyers at the bottom here. So now we've just wedged into an even smaller area. It's all a bit still 50-50, 49, 47, 46, 50. Still nothing. Oh, look at that. There he goes. Buyers came in quite heavy. Interesting. You saw stops get hit there. You see how that spike in volume on the buy side, the volume spiked up. Definitely some sellers got stopped out, but sellers taking that opportunity to short again. I'm telling you, when you get to these areas, right, where you could see the market, it could either go up or down because we've hit we filled a weekend gap. A lot of people are going to be looking to short, but we've been really bullish. So a lot of people are looking to buy. And when you have that first kind of initial move, people see it as, well, this could be a pullback for the buyers. This could be a pullback for the sellers. And you just get this complete chop for a while until someone wins. I wouldn't recommend trading in those areas, right? You want to kind of wait for, some clarity, but it will keep flip-flopping. This is the thing. Momentarily, buyers will keep, being more aggressive and win. Momentarily, sellers will win for a bit, but there's no kind of longer term kind of clarity. And when I say longer term, I mean more intraday, if anything, clarity in those areas. It all just becomes a bit, But it looks like buyers, that one buyer that came in there, came in very aggressive, seems to have, look, sellers are willing to go back in at the tops again. Sellers are also adamant, nah, this is not happening. Oh, the buyers just took out those sellers very quickly. That was super interesting right there. Those buyers are finally finding their volume. So they were willing to come in aggressive near the top again, really trying to get it to this gap here, to the edge of the gap. Because we know we never saw the volume spike when we got there. So we know there's still buyers holding on for take profit. I'm going to look at the chat real quick because I feel like this is going to still chop about for a bit. I love the in-depth description of what's happening in the market, but truthfully, it's often very difficult to determine which side to take a position on when I'm listening to. Yeah, no, you're right, CT content. In a situation like this, it's very hard to know a bit longer term because, like I pointed out earlier, right at the beginning, before we even started chopping about, right? I think I pointed it out like here. There's going to be a lot of sellers seeing this as the first move down, right? And to see it like that. But then there's also going to be a shit ton of buyers who will see this as a pullback and, create this, right? Because we know that this is the top of the gap. The gap has technically been filled, right? Technically, but we know that there's still a shit ton of buyers here holding and held through this move because we never saw the volume spike much, right? Oh, we're about to get there. 1 minute. I have to stop explaining and see if the volume spikes because this is very important to look at. Boom. Okay, we're seeing some profit taking happening. You see how it spiked up the volume? Some buyers have decided to exit. Okay. The gap has been hit. We got some profit taking happening, but not actually as much as I expected, truth be told. I think 200 maybe or so contracts on the delta. A little bit, but not like a great deal amount, right? Because now the next thing I'm looking is for fresh buyers to come in. These guys here, perfect. We want to see these guys fail, right? We want to see a fresh wave of buying below that high there to fail, because then we know those are fresh buyers, because these aren't fresh buyers. These are take profits. Ignore that volume. Sellers, again, coming in heavy at the gap, which, again, makes sense. We know that there's always, once a gap has been filled, 9 times out of 10, it reverses, right? It's one of the easiest things to trade is a gap fill, because especially a gap like we saw on this weekend, because it was such an obvious one. But there are, ooh, that was interesting right there. Ooh, it's all going down here now. It's all happening here. It went green for a second. So there are buyers buying this up. So we know that there's buyers coming in trying to play a breakout, right? Trying to get this market up and up and up. This is where the battle's going on. There's fresh buyers. We want to see those buyers fail and sellers get below them. This is going to be the determining area right now. 48, 37. Trying to keep my eye on the volume. Minus 14, minus 4, 23. Buyers are still happy to buy higher up. They really want a proper breakout here. Buyers are determined. So this is actually not a good sign for sellers when you see such, that's a big chunk of buyers there, 80. This, I think buyers could actually take this here because they're very aggressive near the tops, but sellers are still trickling in, but they're not coming in chunks. They're coming in like trickles, which is not going to get the market down. They need to come in chunks. Buyers are the ones coming in bigger chunks right now. Still nothing too spectacular yet. The higher we go, the more you're seeing sellers come in, but we never saw a massive spike in buy volume yet. Not yet. There's still a lot of sellers coming in, trying to get this gap. Buyers are buying it up. They're not ready yet. They're really determined to make a proper move here. There's a big chunk. Boom. That was a big chunk right there. This is it. This is the spike in volume we've been waiting for. This is buyers taking profit. We're getting a lot of buyers dropping out now. This is profit taking happening right now. So remember the numbers, 200 something, 170, 126, right? Remember how if these numbers change, okay? Let me move all these drawings. Let me get the mouse back up, because this is now the spike we were looking for in volume. So what we're looking for now, for a short, we're looking for, again, more profit taking. This is all the TPs are being hit. So buyers, you got to ignore all this volume, right? All this volume is basically profit taking from buyers. It's not real buying, right? Even this sell volume here, I would say, is probably more people getting trailed out rather than actual real sellers, but there's going to be a combination of both, right? So what we're waiting for now is a new wave of fresh buyers to come in, right? And you have to keep looking at the number. So minus 100, minus 10, minus 100. So there's a tiny bit of buying, but nothing great. 120, 130, 120 again. So we're looking for a new wave of buyers to come in, fail to get it up, and then sellers get below those buyers, and then the move happens. Excuse me. But that is the spike in volume we were waiting for. That's the profit taking right there. So there are some decent sellers coming in. Oof, there's some decent sellers. We haven't really seen buyers fail yet. And the reason we want to wait for buyers to fail is because we want to know how efficient those buyers are, right? Or how aggressive those buyers can be. If they haven't been tested yet, we saw a little chunk there. Oh, this is good. I think this is the move now. Finally, the gap has been filled. The sellers are coming in super aggressive. This is, in my opinion, this is starting to look like the move. We never really got to test the buyers though, but buyers are probably willing to come in lower down again. So I'm not going to chase the sell volume because there's a good chance buyers will be able to come back in, create the pullback, and then sellers will take over again. So here's buyers coming back in a bit lower down, creating a pullback, right? We want to see buyers fail, but a decent amount of buyers, not just, 10, 20 contracts. That's nothing, right? We want to see a decent amount of buyers come in and fail, and sellers get below them. Still nothing. Because remember, a lot of the buyers are out the market now, right? Buyers have taken profit. They're out the market. So there's nothing to defend anymore. A large chunk of buyers who were in the market have exited. They're not going to be looking to defend anything. So all the fresh buy pressure you're seeing now, these are real people coming in, trying to, just buy, and they become super vulnerable. But there's not really much interest in buying right now. We haven't really seen a big wave of fresh new buyers come in. They haven't really been tested, these buyers. I think the only little chunk of buying we had happened here. This was 50 at one point. It closed at 12, but it was like 50. So it was a little bit of a chunk, but again, it's just not enough. It's not a true test of the buyers right now. If we saw maybe 100 on the buy side, something like that, that would be a good test to see if the buyers are capable of getting this market up. So I'm just, I mean, it doesn't have to happen. Doesn't have to happen. So it's also interesting to note, you don't always know where people's take profits are going to be, right? Where people are actually setting their limit orders, right? Even on the depth of market, it's sometimes very hard to see because people iceberg it, right? They don't put it all in one spot and make it visible. It's just not a lot of buying, which shows that there's not that much interest. Most of the buyers have got out the market. I think you're pretty much. I think the real short move is starting to happen now, because a large chunk of buyers have decided. A lot. I mean, obviously, a lot of people who started from the open, right, who bought up, because everyone was eyeing this gap. Everyone and his dog was eyeing this gap. It was so obvious today, right? This weekend gap. This is the top of the gap. Easy, right? Everyone knew. Okay, we're going for a gap fill. A lot of buyers, would have got out a bit early. We saw a tiny bit happen. There was definitely some buyers got out on this move back down, but then buyers were willing. There was still a lot of these buyers in this, move here who were still in the market, who still had money on the line and started defending. Got it up a bit higher. Finally, they got out the market a bit higher up. but there's nothing left to defend now. Now, of course, are there still buyers in the market? Yes, there's always going to be buyers, but the significant amount have left. So there's going to be less defensive play as a whole in the market. Does that make sense? So this is, all right, here's the first half acceptable buying happening. Now it comes down to these guys. This is what we're waiting for, right? Instantly, they kind of failed. They weren't very good. We saw a little bit of buying come in, quite a decent. It was over 100 contracts, right? They were the first wave of fresh buyers who have been trapped essentially. And as long as sellers are, willing to keep shorting, lower down, this move is going down, down, down. Yes, CT Con, I'm waiting for buyers to get trapped just because you don't know how aggressive the buyers are going to be, right? Or how effective they are. This is why it's a little bit dangerous to short when they haven't been tested. They're still coming in, like they're still, adamant, but we also know that they weren't really that great, the buyers at the top here. So, okay, look, if they find a new wave of aggression and get it higher than here, right, we can get out the market. It's not a big deal. We have now an area where we expect them to fail at, right? So essentially kind of above here is where we expect buyers to kind of start failing. They were tested. They weren't that great. Now we also need sellers to come in as well. I mean, in order to keep the market down, you have to constantly have a stream of people willing to short. Sellers exhaust themselves and stop shorting, or sellers get out the market. All right, that gives an opportunity for buyers to come back in, so it's always the same kind of rotational play. Here's quite interesting. There we go. Keep your eye on how the buy numbers are what's the word, developing. $84. So buyers are still willing to buy. So these are the people we need to trap, essentially. Oh, they're doing all right, actually. Oh, they're coming in quite aggressive. These are the people that need to get trapped. So I would be gearing up for a short if sellers are willing to let these buyers. So these are the vulnerable people right now. If sellers can now come in, maybe in the next candle or whatever, and get below those buyers and squeeze them out, then that is essentially your cue. It looks like they might squeeze them out. I would be more willing to kind of, all right, I'm going to go one contract in to see if sellers can now squeeze out those buyers. We're seeing some of them get squeezed out there. There's those buyers getting dropped out. So we know those buyers that came in at the top here just exited. Now we need follow through. We need sellers to keep adding and break this low. Otherwise, buyers will just buy at the bottom again and push it back up. So sellers have to. There's the last little piece of the puzzle now, right? Sellers need to come in aggressively at the lows to get this market down. We've successfully squeezed out those buyers. Good. We tested those buyers. They weren't that effective. But we need follow through. That's the last piece of the puzzle. All right. It's so close. It's almost there. It's just that last piece of the puzzle is missing. But come on, sellers. Don't give up here. You were so close. Come on, sellers. They're just a little bit cautious, some of these sellers, They're still cautious shorting at the lows, which is slightly annoying. They need to be able to, we need volume from the sellers. It's not looking good. These buyers are starting to find their footing. Damn. All right. Well, again, what can you do? Sometimes it's just a little bit annoying. Maybe sellers will come in there. They come in a bit more aggressive. See, sellers are willing to come in aggressive higher up. They're not willing to come in aggressive lower down. That is the part where the failure is happening right now. So we constantly get this kind of bullshit up and down choppiness. It will only stop until sellers are willing to short like this. You know, this kind of volume, aggressive volume, lower down. But you can't force it, you know? I mean, it either happens or it doesn't. But as long as you're aware of what needs to happen, you know whether to hold the trade or not, you know? And sometimes it can take a couple of cycles. It can take a few rotations up and down before eventually someone out there, some big institution's happy to just fuck it, do it, you know, put on the volume, put on the shorts and start bringing this down. But it's not going to happen until it happens. They're just not ready yet. They're just not ready. It looks like buyers might take control again of this market, unfortunately, for a little bit. Sellers are just, they didn't have the follow through needed. So, all right, it might go a bit higher up before sellers are willing to, again, come in heavy and finally be willing to, you know, because what you got to remember as well, buyers are, all right, buyers weren't interested in buying anywhere here, anywhere here. They weren't really interested. They only kind of became interested again at the lows. They're interested higher up. But notice, look how the buyers are doing it. This is what's really interesting, right? Notice how the buyers are willing to add volume higher up, right? As the candle goes up higher, let me get the pen tool out again. Notice how the buyers are willing to add volume higher up. Sellers are not willing to add volume lower down. That is what's causing the sellers to not quite take control properly yet. Look at that. Buyers are willing to add volume higher up. They're getting absorbed. They're making a bit of meal of it. They're not doing that well. And they keep getting kind of, you know, trapped a little bit, and then sellers squeeze them out for a little bit, but then sellers just kind of, do you know what I mean? Die off a little bit. So it's one of those situations where until sellers are happy to short lower down, it's not gonna truly drop yet. So you just have to wait for the next cycle, essentially. But that is, I mean, that's a shit ton of buyers right there that look like they might fail here. That is a very interesting area, to say the least. Because what have we had in terms of buy? Yeah, we had a lot of buy volume come in. Let me just get rid of that move. Again, it wouldn't look bad for a short again, but I would say then have your take profit, you know, down near these lows. Simply because every time the sellers have had the opportunity to short at the lows, they've just not been willing to do it. You know, they're good at the highs. They're very good at trapping buyers. They're very good at that. They're very good at kind of, you know, waiting for the buy volume to come in. Buyers become vulnerable and then get below them and push the market against them, causing the buyers to quickly get stopped out. But then when we get to the lows, they're just, they're not willing to keep that momentum up, and that is a big issue. Does this mean that smart money is selling a block of orders and won't push it down until they are finished? It could very well be, yes, you know, a form of, you know, someone getting out passively as well. It could be an element of that as well. Just trying to, yeah, I mean, okay, we had a bunch of take profits at the top there. They got triggered. Boom, 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 all out. Then we had serious sell aggression come in, flood that market down. Not much follow through. Sellers kind of exhausted themselves at the bottom here. Buyers, a new fresh wave of buyers coming back in. This volume here is actually super interesting. This 391 is very, very interesting because that is a very big chunk of volume. My only concern upon reading this footprint for the sellers, my only concern is, look, we had a bunch of sellers that came in around this area. We had a spike in buy volume. This could very well be potentially these sellers getting out at break even after a failed move. If that is the case, it's not real buy pressure. And if it's not real buy pressure, there's nothing to squeeze out. Does that make sense? There's nothing to squeeze out. But we'll see. We'll see. We shall see. It could be an element of both. It's a bit hard to read because I could see it as it could also be fresh buyers, but I hope it's fresh buyers. And the reason I hope it's fresh buyers is because if buyers are willing to buy that high up, fail, there's only so many times buyers are going to start getting spooked. People will see that, and it will deter other buyers from buying at the top here. Does that make sense? Because it's like, oh, well, it kind of failed there. Maybe it's not a good idea. And then buyers are willing to start only buying lower down again, which is always going to happen regardless, right? So the buyers become similar to the sellers, down here, who are just not willing to kind of short or come in aggressive near the lows because they're being a bit cautious, which is, understandable again. Let me just get rid of that real quick. Get my pen tool. Where is it? There it is. But again, I mean, the sellers aren't, they're not great right now. Truth be told, the sellers are not that spectacular. I mean, they're okay, but again, they're trickling in. We want to see chunks. We want to see, that momentum. Because it comes down to, psychology as well in the markets, right? If you see momentum on the other side, you're less likely as a trader to trade against it, right? Just because it has momentum. If it slowly trickles, you're less likely to, you're more likely to, go against the opposite side. But this isn't enough of a move for a weekend gap of that size. I'd be surprised if if that was it, You normally get a very nice substantial move after a weekend gap like that. Unless news comes out. That's obviously, in this day and age, with what's happening with Iran and everything, that can shake up anything, shake up anything. So we'll just wait. We're seeing buyers are also not really that interested in buying anymore, which is a good sign. We're not seeing massive amounts of buy volume come in. They really came in here, and it's kind of looking like it's failing against them. If we take out this low and we see sellers, I'm talking real fresh sellers, not just stop losses, because there's going to be big sell volume at this low here, but that's going to be a lot of buyers getting stopped out. But then afterwards, whatever that initial number is on the spike where all the stops get hit, any number after that is what's important, right? if we see the real sellers coming in again aggressively at these lows, that's the sign we're looking for. That's how we know then, okay, yes, we've got a potential good move, and we can start really flipping bearish, properly bearish. But as of yet, this is again just kind of, choppy up and down, up and down. There's no... This is all kind of, no man's land type play. Look at that, buy is willing to come back in again. The more buy volume that comes in and fails and gets trapped, the better for the shorts. So it's not terrible seeing buy volume come in. It all comes down to whether they're any good, the buy volume, 21, 23, there's a trickle. Starting to lay off a little bit. There's a bit of chunks coming in there. Just want to keep your eye on it, because sometimes you just see a chunk of volume come in, and that can give you a clue of who the big players are and what they are. What's the word? What they're trying to do, No, ZT, I'm not short. I'm not short yet. I did get short, but then I got out. I got out around here somewhere. Just waiting for something of interest. At this moment in time, it all looks a bit... It's just kind of, up and down a bit. There's no, buyers could take control, sellers could take control. There's kind of no... I'm not seeing anything from either side right now. There's nothing that's like, oh, the volume has kind of died a little bit. You're just seeing, I don't know, a little bit of sell volume coming in, but then again, buy volume's willing to come in. This area here, buyers and sellers are kind of willing to equally jump in. There's no real obvious, there's no obvious winner in this little pocket here. You're seeing some selling coming in, but look how small the numbers are changing. That's what's important, right? Minus 12, minus 11, one contract, minus 12, minus 11. It's just shit. Do you see what I mean? Like, the numbers aren't changing in big chunks. That means this is all kind of retail trading, kind of like very small. No big players right now are currently entering here. So this is all just kind of noise, essentially. It's all noise. There's no there's a bit of a chunk, 17, but again, it's still not... It's not good. Do you know what I mean? It's not a big chunk. Bit of a better chunk there. Back to minus 26. 26 buyers are similar in that level. Oh, back down to minus 13, minus 18. You're getting a bit bigger chunks now in the numbers moving, right? So that's causing it to wake up a bit. Minus 20, minus 35. You need those bigger chunks. But my real interest right now is... Oh, this is nice. Oh, what's going on? My internet Something has happened. I don't know if you guys can still see me. Am I still live? Let me know if I'm still live, everyone. Live. Okay, because something happened there. Normally that tells me the internet cut out or something. That must have been just TradingView. All right, so what's interesting now, I didn't quite see what happened there, annoyingly. Fucking cut off at the worst time possible. But at these lows here, we want to see sellers come in big chunks, right? So we'll start tracking it, 130. That's obviously going to be an element of people getting stopped out, buyers getting stopped out, because we just took out that low there and we're getting near that low there. There's going to be, you know, that element of take profits and buyers getting out, even though it's, you know, it's not that great. But essentially, we're looking for sellers willing to short at the lows. If they're not willing to short at the lows, we're just going to rotate back up again. So there is some sell pressure coming in, minus 80. That's good. That's a good news. They're a bit lower down than they were willing to earlier, right? Sellers are still happy, so we can confirm sellers are still happy to short here. Yay, good. This is where we want to see them short. Minus 38, minus 37, 28, 29. Still nothing spectacular yet. Buyers are still coming in. We're going to expect buyers to come in. Of course, buyers are going to come in at the low, but we need sellers to outpace the buyers significantly, right? To break that low. And if they're not willing to short at the low, it's just not going to happen. Minus 40. They're just trickling in. They're not coming in big chunks. We need to see some kind of big player in the market come in with a big chunk, right? Not a trickle, a big chunk to break it, because we need to break through that level, right? We need to clear the buy limits on that level. Because buyers can reload quicker than sellers can trickle in. That's the problem, right? So we need to see chunks of it. We're just not seeing chunks yet. We're seeing sell volume, but not in chunks. Minus 10, minus 3, minus 34. It's still a bit meh. There was a bit of a chunk. Went from minus 3 to minus 25. So what, 22 or something? Oh, there's a big chunk of buyers though coming in, right? So we need to outpace them. We need to get below them. We need to outmaneuver them, essentially, be more aggressive than them. Otherwise, it's not going to go down. See, it's just not going to go down because they weren't aggressive enough. And then it just rotates back up. So maybe sellers are willing to be a bit more aggressive higher up here and push it down one last chance. But if we're not seeing it, it's not going to happen. We're just not seeing it. Same thing again, unfortunately, right? Buyers are willing to be more aggressive at the lows than sellers are. And unfortunately, it's just not going to break it yet. Now, it doesn't mean that it won't ever break it. It could, you know, sellers could come back in again around this area, go in for another shot. But ultimately, it will never go down until sellers are willing to short aggressively in big chunks at the lows. All right, so the sellers propped it down a bit. They're willing to kind of, you know, minus 4, minus 19, a little bit of a chunk, but nothing great. Minus 23. We really want to see, you know, 50, 60, 80, like a big considerable chunk. Minus 55, minus 30. That jumped up a little bit. That was a bit better there. But it's still all in roughly in tens, I would say. It's kind of the average chunk number right now. Minus 42, minus 36, minus 40, minus 42. Oh, buy chunk came in there, back to minus 7. Look at that big buy chunk right there. Now, sellers need to, do you see what I mean? They need to keep it below that buy chunk because we know there's a big buyer there. That's it. Minus 80. minus 20. It looks like sellers are getting a bit more serious now. There's a big buy chunk of sellers right there at the low. Well done. Now they got to keep that up and really break through. They haven't broken through yet. Buyers are buying into them. Sellers need to. There's again minus 30, another little chunk, half decent, but buyers are still chunking up. Look, we're back to 17, back to 25, back to 30. Sellers got to keep that momentum. Buyers are holding on. They're keeping them at bay. It didn't just break. Go on. Sellers need to get below that 100 right now. That's it, like that, right below. And they got to keep doing that. They're really hammering. The sellers are trying to break through. Look at the buyers coming in very aggressive and sellers are holding them at bay. This is what I mean. This is where the battle is. This is the factor that, like, this is what's important right now. Sellers have to get below those buyers. They have to get below those buyers quick. And they got to do it with momentum. If they do it with speed and momentum, that's going to put off buyers from buying again. Buyers are going to be, oh, well, that didn't look good. You know, oh, that was quick. That was fast. And they'll back off a bit. But if they're doing it in tiny little, like, you know, just chipping away a little bit, you're going to keep getting buyers coming in. They'll have that confidence to keep buying and keep buying. But they're doing a little bit better. The sellers are a bit better now. You know, that's it. Look at that. 90, boom. Now we know those are some of that volume is stops, right? It's not going to be real volume. Okay. There it is. See, there's all the buyers getting squeezed out, right? So we know this volume here, ignore it. This is stop losses, right? These are buyers getting stopped out. We want to see this number now from 160 go to like 200 or something. Do you know what I mean? To indicate there is fresh selling at the lows, right? But we're actually seeing what we saw was that 160 went to 110. That means there was actually 50 buyers came in, right? So it was actually more buying happening at that low, and buyers are trying to take control again. So sellers need to come back in, give it another shot down, and really keep that momentum because buyers are being very, very aggressive. $19, $15, $23, $9. So sellers are still chipping away at the buyers. They're not coming in massive chunks yet. They were a bit earlier, but they kind of held off now, you know? That kind of spooked them a little bit, this little area here. There's a bit of a chunk of sellers back to minus 23, minus 5, minus 12, minus 8, minus 15, minus 14, 8, 7, 12. It's still just chipping like a little tiny, they're just chipping away at it. They're not. There was a bit of a chunk there. We went from plus 19 to like minus 1. But again, it's only, what, 20? It's not a lot. It's better than just a few contracts, but it's still not a lot. We need like 80, 100. We need big numbers, you know? Big numbers to really get this market down. And finally have buyers give up. Do you know what I mean? Buyers say, okay, look, we're going to wait for a much better price. And the best way to do that is with momentum. There has to be some kind of momentum. If there's a lot of momentum behind it, buyers are going to back off. And don't get me wrong, buyers will still keep coming back in, but that's also going to egg on a lot of sellers to be like, oh yeah, let's short. And it becomes a snowball effect. Do you know what I mean? There'll be less buyers willing to buy, more sellers willing to sell, and then boom, 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 the market starts flooding down. And we're getting there. We're approaching it. You can see that battle is slowly starting to happen, but it's not ready yet. It still hasn't truly happened. And you'll know when it's happened because it becomes so obvious. You'll see it and you'll be like, oh, yes. You'll be able to pick it out really easy when it does happen. But sellers are still just chipping away. There is overall more sellers in the market. Sellers are a little bit more aggressive than buyers, but they need to be, it's just not there again. They're just not coming in chunks. They're very cautious. And I understand why they're cautious. I mean, it's been a very bullish day, you know. Of course, there's going to be caution there. Look, buyers came in with a big chunk right there. Decent sized chunk. Sellers are absorbing them quite well. But they gotta get down. They were very good. I tell you what, sellers showed some good signs here when these buyers tried to take control, and then there was a seller there that just said, nah, not on my watch. Came in a bit heavy, pushed them down, squeezed out that buyer. They have this moments of like, oh, okay, they're doing well. And then they kind of back off a bit, the sellers. Kind of, just become a little bit lazy. They don't keep that momentum going. And just give enough time for the buyers to just add too much volume and fill the book up a bit, And then they're just back to kind of chipping away at it. Look at that, -8, -28, -18, -13, -51. There we go. Went from -13 to -51. That's about 40 or so. A bit less than that. So that was a medium-sized chunk, you could say, which is a little bit of a better sign. But there is a medium-sized player, you could say, sitting there. Fair play to them. They're becoming a bit more risky, the sellers, but it wasn't enough. Look, buyers, exactly the same thing, right? Big chunk of buy volume at the top there. Buyers are still happy to put in big chunks. So we know there's big buyers in the market as well, right? There's medium-sized sellers, big buyers, just not. And it looks like, look at that volume the buyers are coming in with. They're not giving up either. They're actually quite serious here. And just, again, didn't have that momentum. Oh, something happened there. I just saw it in the corner of my eye. Something happened there. I didn't see the numbers, though, truth be told. Something happened in that cluster. I think I want to say that was a big buy number that instantly disappeared. If it is, I don't know. I honestly didn't. I just saw something in the corner of my eye happen there, but I don't know what. So I'm not going to. I'll have to look at the replay, see what happened there. But look, sellers are willing to come in heavy again at the tops. They're not willing to come in heavy at the lows. But that's when you get a market that becomes very choppy, and it starts looking like I'll show you. Let me get a pen tool out for you. Oh, fucking hell, what just happened there? Jeez, look at all that volume that came in. I think that's news related. That was news. It will update. I won't refresh it, but that looked like news to me. Something happened there, but I don't know what. But what I was going to say a second ago, before that happened, you get the kind of markets that have really shallow kind of zigzaggy kind of patterns that almost looks like a range, but it kind of just drifts a little bit. You get that kind of market. But I do want to know what just came out. Come on. Let me refresh. Maybe something happened there. Something happened there. Where is the news? I don't know. Maybe someone in the chat can let me know. Again, financial juice being a bit slow. It is delayed, though, to be fair. It's always delayed. So I'll check back in a couple of minutes. We'll find out what that was. All right, it looks like we're just going to rotate a little bit back to simple rotations. I'm still overwhelmingly more short. For a while, I think sellers will eventually break these buyers. It's just going to be a bit sideways and a bit choppy until they do. It's not going to be a clean cut V-shaped reversal type thing. Unfortunately, but once it goes, I think it will pick up momentum. I think there might be a half decent pullback at least, but it's just very, very meh, very meh. That's the only way. JR says, not today. E-Rock Financial Juice has been having issues lately. I think as everyone refreshes the second, literally like what I did, the second any spike happens, everyone's just refreshing Financial Juice. They need to upgrade their servers. But it's good. I don't know. Nothing's come out. What time was that? 38. That was at 40, so maybe that wasn't news. I don't know. Who knows? If that wasn't news, then, well, someone decided to buy a lot in one chunk. Insider trading? Is something going to come out? What do you guys think? Because if that candle wasn't news-based in any way, I'm talking about this one, little suspicious, don't you think? Considering what we know when it comes to insider trading. I wouldn't be surprised. Nothing has actually come out on that time. I don't know. Either way, don't quite want to be. I don't quite want to short until I know what the hell this was. If it was simply reaction to some kind of news, it's not a big deal. I don't care, because then all right, fine. That was the reaction. It's done. It's finished. But if it's not reaction to news, then I'm gonna bet that's probably a bit of insider trading again. And if it is, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. They're protecting. But that's actually interesting, but they're protecting their position. Normally they wouldn't protect it if it was insider trading, because why would you? If you know, in 10 minutes something's going to come out and it's going to shoot up. You don't care if you're on drawdown. Why would you protect your position like that? You can handle drawdown if it's insider trading. Either way, I wouldn't want to short against it. Not yet. At least not yet, until either see that person get the hell out the market, get squeezed out, and then potentially look for a short. But considering what happened lately with all this insider trading, whenever you see something suspicious that isn't correlated to news, yeah, fuck that. I'm just not going to bet against them. Do you know what I mean? Because any second now, you just get a rip. But saying that, the fact that they are actually protecting their position leads me to kind of believe that maybe they're a bit nervous. If they're nervous, why are they nervous? If they have insider information, they shouldn't be nervous. I don't know. Hard to read human psychology, right? Maybe they just want to add more to their position at a good price. Maybe, I don't know. That could be that. Might not be nerves. Might be greed. Who knows, right? But we've been on here for over 2 hours. All right, well, guys, I think I will probably call it a day for now. I think we might just range a bit. Ultimately, I think, look, if sellers can start becoming more aggressive lower down in these kind of areas. If they're willing to be aggressive down here, this market's going to go down. That's my position on it. Otherwise, sellers are eventually going to give up and we're just going to drift up, or we're going to consolidate for a while and then eventually buyers will, because buyers are more willing to buy higher up than sellers are willing to short lower down. And that will always, the only reason we haven't gone much higher is because sellers are willing to short higher up still. But the moment sellers are willing to stop shorting higher up, yeah, buyers can take over. But while we're in this area, essentially, it's anyone's game. Very hard to predict whether the market's going to go up long term, or when I say long term, I mean intraday, or down, but when you're in these kind of situations, because it really comes down to what happens at the lows and what happens at the highs. And we're kind of at a stalemate on both of them. So, but yeah, guys, I'll leave it there. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll try get the account sorted. Apologies that I couldn't trade on any account today. Yeah, but I'll have that sorted by tomorrow. I'll have an account to trade. We can actually place trades as well. That would be quite nice. But see you all tomorrow. Thank you all for joining in. And yeah, I'll catch you all tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks, guys. Take care. See you tomorrow.